we're going to call the Dumfries Town Council meeting of Tuesday, March the 1st, 2022 at 7 p.m. We're going to call this meeting to order. Town Manager, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Councilman Brown.
Present.
Councilwoman Miles.
Present.
Councilwoman Neville.
Present.
Councilman Pete.
Present.
Councilman Fields. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
Mayor Wood.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Master Deacon Kevin Smith to come and open us up with a word of prayer, and we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, whose leadership is over all and whose love never fails, make us aware of your presence tonight and obedient to your will.
Support for this podcast
Thank you
comes
for
from
your
Petco's
leadership
Energy
that is
Savings for
present
Business
tonight,
program.
and those
Even
who are
now,
gathered
your business can count
here
on energy
to
savings
witness
from Petco.
or share. Guard their hearts and mind and help us to be our best self tonight. Help us to keep the main thing so that we can face the challenges ahead faithfully and confidently, and that your will be done. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. All right, next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Council, are there any changes or adjustments to the agenda? Okay. Seeing none. All right. Seeing none, note Councilman Fields is here. Welcome a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by the Vice Mayor.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Miles. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miles?
Aye.
Councilman Fields? Councilwoman Neville?
Aye.
Councilman Pete?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. The motion carries 7-0. All right, next on our agenda is our awards and proclamations. The first proclamation is a proclamation recognizing Women's History Month. Whereas the month of March is nationally recognized as Women's History Month, and whereas American women of every race, class, ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, and whereas American women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation, and whereas American women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation. And whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background serve as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, and whereas American women have served our country courageously in the military, and whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. Whereas despite these contributions, the role of American women in history have been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. And whereas the national theme for Women's History Month 2022 is women providing healing and promoting health. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the town of Dumfries celebrates and recognizes March 2022 as Women's History Month by order of the council, signed Mayor Derek R. Wood. Next, we'd like to have a proclamation recognizing the Potomac landfill. Town manager, if you can. Please take a look at the monitor.
/business savings.
It's a landmark in Prince William County, Virginia is ready for its next chapter. Scott Broom is in Dumfries tonight to talk about the last days of the Potomac landfill and the plan for the future.
Wow, it is quite a hike to get up here. Welcome to a man-made mountaintop in Dumfries, Virginia. And this is a story about change. Holy cow, look at
There's
the
the
view.
minion. Yeah.
You guys built a mountain up here.
Yeah. We're sitting at about 230 feet right now.
Phil Pete is president of Potomac Landfill Incorporated. Since 1985, they've been dumping construction waste here, growing the mountain higher inch by inch.
Hey, how's it going?
The last truck will cross the scales on Friday after 37 years of building a mountain.
This triangle in the front is where Colonial Downs is going to build their hotel, event center, and casino.
A $389 million development at the base of the mountain, which will be called The Rose. Nearly 1,500 workers and a 79-acre recreation park up on the high ground for the Dumfries community, according to developer Colonial Downs Group.
You know, change is going to happen. You can't get away from it.
Manager Eric Hackett will celebrate his 21st year of working here on the day it shuts down.
Could you imagine working at a casino?
I may be able to imagine building one. I'm not sure working in one.
It's bittersweet, to be honest with you.
Phil is proud of the mountain that he and his 15 workers built.
People work every day and raise their families on the income they earned off of taking somebody else's waste and putting it in the ground. It's been quite a story. It's been quite a ride.
At the Potomac landfill in Dumfries, soon to become a casino and park. Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
Proclamation recognizing the Potomac Recycling Incorporated. Whereas Potomac Recycling came to Dumfries, well, we have 2007, but we here in 1985, 37 years for the purpose of mining and recycling construction, demolition, and miscellaneous inert debris material to return them to their natural state at the Potomac landfill. 100 acres that was located at 3730 Green Tree Lane in Dumfries, Virginia. And whereas Sandy Crippen, the CEO of Potomac Recycling, affectionately known as Miss Virginia by her business colleagues and friends, took the trash and turned it into the treasure by taking the dump out of Dumfries. And whereas Potomac Recycling has always been a vital member of our community, has shown its support by supporting and sponsoring the town's annual 4th of July fireworks, supporting the Dumfries Police Department, and various generously donations for the Christmas in Dumfries and dual-purpose police K-9 program. And whereas Potomac Recycling philanthropic spirit towards child help, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the prevention and treatment of child abuse, has not gone unnoticed. And whereas on Friday, January 28th, 2022, the Potomac Recycling took its last load of construction debris for the purpose of recycling and disposing at the Potomac landfill. And whereas we echo the sentiments of Potomac Landfill's president, Phil Pete, that we too are proud of what the landfill operators and employees have accomplished over the years. And the departure of the Potomac Recycling is bittersweet. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council of Dumfries hereby recognize and express our sincere appreciation for the 37 years of service to this town for their contributions. Give them a round of applause.
Wow. I am a little misty. 37 years. Of course, I haven't been here the entire 37, but since 1995. Basically, on behalf of Sandy Crippen, the owner, and all the employees of Potomac Landfill, I want to thank you, Mayor Wood, all the members of council, and as well as the town of Dumfries for this recognition and honor. It's heartfelt. Thank you.
Anything? Any- Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to express my gratitude to Mr. Pete. He's been a pleasure to work with since my tenure with Dumfries. As the proclamation stated, excellent community partner. We know that in the municipal government, landfills are a quote unquote dirty business, but Mr. Pete has just been a pleasure to work with. So I just wanted to share in honoring him this evening. Thank you.
Councilman Fields?
I don't know much more I could say other than thank you for your cooperation over the years. I've been in this town since '06, employee of the town. I've been to the top of that mountain a few times, and it's great to hear that it's going to be put to good use. Our Dumfries Mountain is going to look beautiful in just a short amount of time. So this mountain that you've built for us, like I tell people, especially the critics, that I think everybody in this room may have traveled to Virginia Beach and you pass Mount Trashmore, which they have built in that area, and everyone has either passed by it or either visited. We'll have our own. We're not going to call it Mount Trashmore. That's our own Dumfries Mountain, like Walton's Mountain back in the day. So we're going to have our own Dumfries Mountain here. It's going to be beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Councilman Brown?
So I just want to say thank you, sir. That mountain is a monument. I know it's been 37 years for you, but it's not going anywhere. So you can pass by, you will see that mountain. You will see the beautification of what Colonial Downs is going to do. And I'm looking forward to that because right behind that mountain is my house. So thank you for your work, and we really appreciate you. Thank you.
I can't see if Councilman Pete or Councilwoman DeVille, just want to make sure I don't skip over you too.
No comments, man.
Okay. I just want to say, it's been a pleasure. The landfill is honored. When they came in, I remember was it 2014, and we signed that host agreement for you all to kind of stay open for a few more years. And now to see that we've actually raised that revenue that we agreed to for you to stay open, and we cut about 5 years off of the time of being able to shut it down. So we definitely didn't want you to go out thinking that we just saw you as the eyesore. You all have been a great community partner, and the employees and the staff, they have our best well wishes. So again, congratulations on all of that. All right, next on our agenda is the approval of our Dumfries Town Council minutes from February 1st, 2022. Don't cry, Mr. Brown.
Mayor, I move we approve the minutes.
Okay, it's been moved. Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Seeing none, I call for the question. Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miles?
Aye.
Councilwoman DeVille? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And that would be a yes for me. All
Mayor,
right.
you will.
Say again?
In the chat here, Councilwoman DeVille is saying that she's having Wi-Fi trouble. I just seen it come across the chat here. Just letting you guys know.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Pete. I had to leave and just rejoin the meeting.
I'm Elma, and I'm.
We still want to see the landfill. All right. That's, so is that a yes vote? Did she ever?
Yeah, Mayor, I don't know what's going on with my computer, but I had to leave and come back. So I'm just going to go ahead and abstain because I did not hear all the conversation.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is our citizen comment period. Tell manager, were there any members signed up to speak from the? Okay. I will move into mayor and council comments. All right, Councilman Pete, did you have any comments for tonight?
Oh, yes, I would like the citizens and everyone in the surrounding communities to save the date. Councilwoman DeVille and I are going to be hosting a community field day on June the 4th. Rain date will be June the 5th. An update on the event will be every month. So look for an update on the event for the community field day for June the 4th. Pencil that in every month. Thank you, guys. That's all, man.
Councilwoman DeVille?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just have a few additional save the dates to add. March 26th, I hold an annual Own Your Power event. This year, it's going to be a summit focusing on empowering young ladies in grades 9 and 10. And it'll be a free summit held at Nova's Woodbridge campus. Right now, we have a call for speakers, and that ends on March 9th. But if anyone's interested in speaking, sharing about careers with these young ladies, it's a focus on career exploration and leadership and empowerment, as well as wellness. We are also going to have components for parents. So if anyone tuned in would like to provide one-on-one sessions to provide those wraparound services with the families and engage with the parents, please look on my social media, send me an email, and I'm happy to share details. The call for speakers ends this weekend, and registration for those young ladies, it'll open up this weekend, and there is a limited number due to COVID mitigations. And Juneteenth, save the date, Juneteenth, we will have another parade. It'll be bigger than last year, and we will have a block party as well. And I look forward to working with Councilman Pete. So I hope everyone saves that date for our field day, June 4th, rain date, June 5th. Thank you.
Councilman Fields.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, we got a lot of things coming up, and I'm just so happy it's March now, and we can hopefully get to some warmer weather and all our spring activities that are coming up. But let us not forget, last month we had a wonderful Black History Month, but let's recap a little bit. And like I said, just because Black History Month was last month, we shouldn't wait until next year to acknowledge the accomplishments of Blacks making history in this country and anywhere. So let's keep that in mind. Going forward, as they said, we got a lot of events coming up. Spring is close, hopefully no more bad weather. And I want to give a shout out to our Public Works Department for the good work that they have done throughout the winter and all our storms and all our bad weather events, keeping our streets clean as best they can. We had a tremendous snowstorm over the winter, so hopefully no more snow, but you know what, March can bring us anything, but I think we're going to be okay now. Also, Chief, I mentioned to you, I was going to say something about our patches that I don't think we ever acknowledged that the police department is looking sharp. I love that because they got new patches and new badges. So it wasn't an official debut of that like we used to do back in the day whenever we changed uniforms. But give a shout out to Officer Robertson. He's the one that designed the new patches and the badge and then put it up for approval. So make sure you let him know that he gets a shout out for that, and keep on looking sharp, guys. Doing a good job. Thank you.
Councilman Brown.
Good afternoon. I'm going a different direction tonight. So with the Ukrainian and Russian war, I just would ask citizens that pray, that we need to pray for our leadership, the decision makers, and the whole situation going on in Ukraine. I witnessed a Ukrainian going back to his home country to fight. And it made me remember when I was in the military. This person has been out of his country. He's trying to get back so he can fight for his country. I miss that here in the country, in our country. We have a lot of infighting between Republicans and Democrats, and that brought me full circle. That's the way we used to be in this country. So I ask for unity, I ask for whatever side of the aisle you're on, to lift up our leadership and just keep them in prayer as you go through your day and your prayer life. Thank you.
Councilwoman Miles.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, citizens. I definitely want to echo Councilman Brown's sentiments. We want to pray for the Ukrainians as they're facing this difficult time. Also want to send my thoughts and prayers to any of our citizens who are in Ukraine, who were not able to make it out, who are still trying to find their way back, any students who are in Ukraine, who are trying to get to their home countries. We want to send our thoughts and prayers to them as well. Also, in keeping with the spirit of the month, I want to wish everyone a happy Women's History Month. Special shout out to Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who has been nominated and will be the first African-American woman appointed to the Supreme Court. So that is African-American history celebrated, but we're going to hopefully look forward to our confirmation in the next couple of weeks. So it's very exciting. I want to remind everybody that the Vice Mayor and I will be hosting an Expungement Clinic. We will be having an informational webinar, which will be hosted on the 12th from 10 to 11. You can follow both the Vice Mayor and me on our social media platforms. And then the clinic itself will be hosted on March 19th from 9 to 1. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
I don't have comments. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to say February was a very busy and productive month. As Councilman Phil stated, we had our Black History program. If you haven't had the opportunity to view that, just go to the official Town of Dumfries YouTube page and you can go and view it. Shout out to all the team and the staff that worked on putting that projection together. Also in February, the Virginia Municipal League hosted a lobby day down in Richmond on the Hill. It gave us elected local officials an update on all the things that are impacting us here in the community on a daily level. And it gave us an opportunity to really look at the pros and cons of some of the bills they're doing and how they impact us on our day-to-day operations. We also got to be able to connect with our peers who are local elected from around the state. The Chamber of Commerce also hosted a reception and a dinner down there with legislators as well as local elected officials. Last week, the Chamber hosted a business award, and one of our own businesses, if you know, with the TSI building, there's a company in there called Concord Crossroads. And Mr. Claude Wood got recognized and award for one of the businesses of the year at the Chamber of Commerce last week. So the CBR, you see their sign is real big on that corner of that building when you drive by. So he got recognized last week at the Chamber of Commerce. These relationships that we build on the state level at the businesses and the chamber, they're pretty essential for keeping the town at the table and everyone aware of the things that are important to us based on what we have in our comprehensive plan, based on the things we're working on in our budget. So that's key. As we heard, March is Women's History Month. I love the national theme this year. It explores the role of women of all cultures in providing both healing and hope throughout history. So it's an exciting theme. March 8th is International Women's Day. March 12th, if all of you don't know, it's the Girl Scouts' birthday. So if you haven't got your cookies, they are out selling it everywhere. Actually, I was down at the General Assembly on President's Day, and all the little Girl Scouts marched into the chambers to get recognized from the top of the balcony, and they had all their cookies, and it was a great sight to see all of the Girl Scouts out there and the skills that they learned. I've had two girls that went through the Girl Scouts, so I had the responsibility of buying a lot of those cookies, and so some of you probably have as well in going through that. March 17th, we know it's St. Patrick's Day. The first day of spring is coming up, March 20th. We know daylight savings is short day behind. And there's a day that I found in March that you probably didn't know. Here's one, I'll save the date. March 21st is World Poetry Day. So guys, if you're still romantic, write those poems and give it to your ladies on the 21st. I wanted to let you know, for those who don't know, I was reappointed by my peers of mayors in Northern Virginia of the towns to serve on the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority again for a third time. So it's pretty much an honor and a privilege to be a part of the major transportation projects that's going to impact this region for actually years to come. And it's very multimodal. It deals with all forms of transportation. Lastly, I just finished drafting a letter I want to read on a position that I think we should take in discussion, the stadium project. I think we've been taking a major lead as a council on a lot of initiatives that we're doing. And I'm just going to read it into your hearing. It says, members of the Prince William County Board of Supervisors, we bring you greetings from the oldest continuously chartered town in Virginia. That's Dumfries. Our vision has been to make Dumfries the town of Dumfries a destination place. The purpose of this letter is to offer our support for your consideration of the Washington Commanders Stadium complex. Our support is rooted in our desire to have the infrastructure built in and around our town to complement the vision of Dumfries as a destination place. With that said, there are 3 infrastructure considerations we would like you to consider as you make your decision. Route 1 serves as the singular vehicle access point in and out of Dumfries. There is need for alternative access. We propose that a condition for the stadium be 2-way rail service on the VRE with extended hours or we like both and metro service in and around the stadium complex. Second, we ask that Quantico Creek be dredged and restored to allow for ferry and commercial boat service. Restoring Quantico Creek has been a long-standing priority for the town of Dumfries. The decline of maritime commerce was a contributing factor to Dumfries' economic depression over this last century. And lastly, we ask the Board of Supervisors support conducting a study for potential Potomac River crossing in the Southbridge community in the Northwestern Potomac River crossing, Northern Virginia Transportation Alliance. We believe this project will be a major game changer for the area infrastructure needs, should be put first. On behalf of the council, Mayor Derek Wood. So that's a letter I asked for consideration. You guys are welcome to make a motion or accept it or let me know.
Mayor, I have a question. Are you asking us to make a movement on that letter that you just read just now, tonight?
You can if you would like to.
Okay, because that was my first time hearing it. I'd like to see it and read it and have time to make any edits because we haven't had any conversation about it. So I would like some time to review that and share my thoughts on that. This is brand new to me just now. Thank you.
And my last thought for the month is whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for men, since you know that you will receive an inheritance as a reward. Colossians 3:23-24. And those were my remarks. All right. Now to the business. Action items, public hearing. Our first public hearing is a consideration for an ordinance to approve a conditional use application, CUP 2021-001, filed by Rising Stars Daycare LLC.
Hello, everyone. So the application we have before you tonight is for CUP 2021-001 for Rising Stars Daycare. Next slide, please. The proposal is the approval of a conditional use permit to allow for the expansion of the daycare facility from 17934 Main Street to the adjoining property at 17944 Main Street. Next slide, please. As I just stated, this is the purpose / proposal before you all tonight. All this is doing is allowing for the expansion of the daycare facility to the property directly next door to the existing facility. Next slide, please. So the site is 0.61 acres, and it's located at the corner of Main Street and Whitehaven Drive. There is only one primary structure on the property, and the applicant's proposing to occupy approximately 1,800 square feet of the space. There is a suite. If you look at the northernmost part of the structure, there is a suite space there that they're going to occupy. From the square footage of the space, the requirement for the parking spaces is for the parking space amount is 10, and they meet that with 24 spaces. Next slide, please. And to just sum up this application, staff has determined that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan, and that the proposed use will benefit the residents of the town by expanding an existing daycare facility that's close to a residential area and which will allow them to take more children currently, because they are currently actually turning away people who are coming in and to the facility to ask if they have any spots that are open for the children, for their children to attend. In addition to this, staff concludes that the development proposal will not adversely affect the health, safety, and general welfare of not only the persons occupying this site, but as those in the vicinity of the site as well. That is all I have for tonight. And if council has any questions, I'm here to answer. Thank you so much. Next slide, please. And that is it.
Council, do you have any questions about the staff report or anything in your package relating to the Rising Stars Daycare?
Yeah.
Okay, seeing no questions.
And I will also say the applicant is here as well. If you all have any questions for her, if you would like her to come up, she would be open to coming up.
Did you have anything to say, Marley? No, she does.
Perfect. Thank you.
She's a great community partner and a neighbor to the barbecue man.
Fantastic.
She keeps the place nice and neat and tidy. All right, so we'll now open up the public hearing. All right, is there anyone signed up to speak on behalf? No one signed up? Okay. We'll close the public hearing. All right, council, any discussion on further questions? Okay.
Just for, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Go ahead. Just for clarity for everyone else that may not know exactly where this place is.
Yes.
The other half of the building was or still used by Harley Davidson?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've talked with the applicant for that, and also I apologize, but the planning commission also, we had someone ask that and at planning commission, and I got more clarity on that. So they are still storing the motorcycles there, but it's in a part of the building that the children will not have any way to get into. The daycare facility will not, they will do, or they're going to make changes so that they can't, that children cannot get to that area of the facility.
Okay, and also if they're still in operation, we have to worry about proper ventilation and stuff like that.
Yes.
For the kids.
So that will be taken care of. I know that while they're storing the motorcycles there, I don't believe that ventilation system adjoins to the suite in question, because
You're right, it shouldn't. I just want to make sure.
No, but
bringing out safety concerns, because they're not, just in case anyone else, they're not working on the motorcycles there. It's just a storage.
Exactly.
So you don't have to worry about fumes and gas leaks and anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just a storage.
Yeah.
So that separate suite should be good. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
I also would like to add as well, that property was actually built for, I believe it was Majestic Glass back in 2005. It was approved through a site plan approval. So the part of the space where they will be going is actually it was actually the sales area of the space. So it's not in the warehouse part.
Councilwoman Miles?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to approve the CUP.
Yes. As proposed. All right. So motion by Councilwoman Miles, second by Councilman Fields. What any discussion? Councilman Pete, Neville, did you have any questions on it? Okay.
I just have my concerns of children with the men, as Councilman Fields brought up, but you did reiterate that there would be a separate area and that there wouldn't be any fumes. And when you said there wouldn't be any fumes, it just raised me a concern of how would the vehicles be stored if you were, are you just pulling them in or parking them in, or that just raised a little concern right there of me when you said safety, because I love my safety area of if we're pulling the vehicles in there cranked up, how will the fumes eventually affect the kids somehow, some way? That's just a concern.
Yeah. I believe the applicant has her.
No, we're not, there's a motion on the floor.
Oh,
It's just
sorry.
discussion. Sorry. So Councilman Pete, they just roll them in there on foot when they get it over there. I observe it going in and out often.
Okay. All right. Clear. Thank you.
All right. All right. So there's any further discussion on the motion that's on the floor? All right. Seeing none. The motion was made by Councilwoman Miles. It was second by Councilman Fields. All right, Councilman Fields.
Aye.
Councilman Pete.
Aye.
Councilwoman Neville.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miles.
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. The motion carries 7-0. Congratulations. All right. Next on the agenda is a conditional use permit, consideration of an ordinance to approve Proffer condition amendment application PCA 2016-001 filed by the Town Square of Dumfries LLC. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. With that introduction, we could move to the next slide, please. So just a bit of background for you. This is a request for an amendment to the proffers that were approved with the rezoning of the property in 2016. And at that time, the property was rezoned from residential to mixed use, as documented in the staff report. And along with that were a set of proffers within a proffer statement. So it is that proffer statement that is up for your consideration for amendment. Since 2016, there have been 2 site plan approvals as documented, one in 2018 and in 2019. The first having to do with Land Bay 3 that was shown in the plan, and then the second for Land Bays 1 and 2. Before you tonight is a focus on Land Bay 4. Next slide, please. So you can see there's a list of 6 items that we're going to be discussing tonight. And I'm going to hand this over to Nick in a moment to go through each of these. And they range from a change in the number of dwelling units, the type of dwelling units, occupancy type, commitment for commercial property, for commercial use of a minimum of 5,000 square feet, modifications to the layout for Land Bay 4 from the original application, minor modifications to the proffers based on staff comments since they were first approved. Removal of a small public facility that is referenced in the previous proffers that Nick will go into. And then finally, authorization for modification for a 15-foot transitional buffer. Next slide, please. Just to be sure we're on the same page on the location, as you can see by the aerial photography, this is the corner of Grand Park Road and Old Triangle Road, so east of US 1, that vacant property on that corner as part of the larger portion of the property that has been developed. Next slide, please. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Nick to go through the 6 items.
Hello again. So to begin with, this site is a part of the Graham Fraley Small Area Plan, and with this small area plan, the designation of this site is as a mixed-use site. So, as a part of that, the proposed proffer condition amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which that Graham Fraley Small Area Plan is a part of. But to go back to what I was saying is that this PCA is consistent with that comprehensive plan vision and satisfy many of its plan use goals. Next slide, please. In regards to the site layout, there's going to be some minor changes. Instead of just having the public facility use on this site, as well as the one apartment as well, there will be two apartment structures on the site. Next slide, please. And just to go over, here are the 6 main points of this proffer condition amendment. Next slide, please. So to start off, to kind of go into more detail with this, it's the first one is to increase the number of the multifamily dwelling units from 40 to 100. We would also be classifying them as a affordable dwelling units, as well as authorizing the increase of the density cap of the dwelling units as well. And the purpose of this is of the PCA before you is it will allow for the zoning certification required for the VDHA low-income housing tax credit projects. This zoning certification will be used in determining the if and when the development qualifies for points under the VHDA's qualified allocation plan for the housing tax credits. Next slide, please. And here's just 2 and 3. 2 is instead of that 20,000 square feet of commercial, they're going to commit to 5,000 square feet of commercial space on this Plan Bay 4. And as I previously stated, the building layout will be modified. So instead of the public facility use, you will have those 2 apartment complexes with the 5,000 square feet of commercial in the ground floor, the one that's fronting Grand Park Road. Next slide, please. 4, 5, or 6 are very straightforward. 4 is just modifying the proffers to accommodate comments that staff made throughout this process, which I have to say was a collaborative process with the applicant. 5 is, as I stated before, is to remove the public facility use from Plan B 4. And 6 is to authorize the modification of the 15-foot transitional buffer along the perimeter of the site. Next slide, please. And with that, I will be turning it back over to our consultant. Harry, the floor is yours again.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, just to close out, to be clear, within those modifications, there is a waiver of the zoning ordinance to allow for the 100 age-restricted dwelling units, 23 more than the 77 units permitted by right. And second, we've been referencing the modification to the 15-foot transitional buffer along the perimeter of the boundary, as that is normally required. So just to be clear on those two items. Next slide, please. And to close out, staff recommendation as well as the Planning Commission recommendation is for the following. Is for the amendments to the original proffer statement from 2016, a modification to the original plan set, the master zoning plan set, the waiver of the zoning ordinance as I just outlined, as would be permitted by right, as well as the modification that I outlined of the 15-foot transitional buffer area. So that's a quick summary. We do have the applicant here who will not be presenting, but is here and willing to answer any questions that you have about the application. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you for your thorough presentation and prep materials. It was even the traffic studies and everything was pretty it's pretty intensive. You know, had to get a magnifying glass for stuff, but you know, I think the applicant has been before us. I think we've had a relationship since 2014. It's been a long vision and a long ride, and you know, my only thing has been this whole time we've talked, every time you come in, pretty consistent on the commercial dwelling. And we see a minimum of 5,000 in there. So if you can, I just want to ask, you know, what the commitment is to that, so that we just hear on the commercial dwelling. That's always my concern, is it in this mixed use development to add to the residential. If you could just share that with us.
Todd?
Good evening, Todd Collins, Community Housing Partners. The current plans show right now that we're looking at approximately 5,365 square feet of commercial retail space that's available in the building.
It's going to be at the bottom of one of the apartments?
Yes, on the first floor, approximately half of the first floor.
Okay. All right. And one of the, this is going to be more facing Route 1, or is it going to be more in?
It was some of the site, the majority of the site is on the parking lot side, which is inside the parcel, and probably a third of the commercial space is actually fronting Graham Park.
Okay. Okay. All right, great. And so you're expecting more seniors with the restriction being waived?
Market studies are showing that there's a very large demand for senior housing, affordable housing. The latest market research I got at the end of last week, I believe there was 3,200 units of rental housing in the area, and there was a total of 16 vacancies. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
And you all are working on our other senior project too?
Yes.
In town, yeah. So I just wanted to know, I said, you know about something about all these seniors because you're building 2 senior projects in town.
Yeah,
So
and I'd spent a number of years at a previous job doing specifically senior housing, so
okay,
very familiar with it.
Yeah, I was seeing it and I was like, wait, you want more senior housing? So okay, I guess you want us to grow.
We wouldn't be building it if demand wasn't there.
No, I'm just, so that's great. In council, any other questions? Councilman Brown?
So just for clarity, on the 15-foot boundary, that's a waiver? And is that
to waive the need for it, the requirement
for
it, if you want to.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. So that is a requirement of the PMUD zoning requirement or in the ordinance for that But in the PMUD zoning ordinance, there is a section that allows any person coming in who's an applicant to request that the town council waive that requirement. So, for example, if for this waiver, the town square would not need to include a 15-foot buffer around that corner of Grand Park Road and Old Triangle. So when you see in a lot of developments, you see there's trees in between the parking lots and the sidewalk area that, if that makes sense, that would not be required. That way, it would allow the 2 apartment buildings to be closer to the street and to allow the footprint to be expanded more.
Okay.
Was that Mr. Brown? Any Councilman Fields?
Just for you two. And more of a statement, I don't think it'll be a question out of it. If a question comes out of what I'm going to say, please answer up. Myself and Mayor Wood were on council back in 2016 when you first came to us. Over the years, we've worked great together. Over the years, your project has provided Dumfries with a whole host of new residents. Okay. So thank you for working with us, because we're going to have even more new residents come to the town. What I want to make sure is you look out for our residents. Okay. What you're going to provide, how you can provide it, the best quality and the best for our residents, the people that are going to come to Dumfries. That's my most important thing. What we have to work out in business, that's been taken care of. Thank you for your due diligence and working with us. Thank you. I have a big smile on my face about that. But our residents are most important. Our new residents are going to come to Dumfries now. We need to welcome them with open arms, and please just look out for them first. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, council, any more questions on the staff report or for the applicant before we go to a public hearing? Okay. Seeing none, I will now open up the public hearing for discussion for consideration of an ordinance to improve the 6 proffer conditions on the application filed by Town Square at Dumfries LLC. Town manager, is anyone signed up here to speak at the public hearing on that? Okay. Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. All right. All right. We're now at the point where the suggested motion from our staff is to approve PCA 2016-001 filed by Town Square at Dumfries LLC.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion on the red proposal, just as if you read it. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Fields. Second by the
I just started talking.
okay. All right. Any further discussion on that? All right, seeing none. Councilman Pete?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hill?
Aye.
Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miles?
Aye.
Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. Congratulations, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to seeing you move forward on all these improvements. Let me move this over here. All right. Next on the agenda is the consideration of a resolution amending the town council rules of procedure, section 3.3. I think we went through. I guess we just need a motion to approve that. And then discussion.
I motion we move forward with the approval of the amendment to the town rules and procedures, section 3.3. Considering we had lengthy discussion the last time it came up.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and second. Are any further discussion on the rules? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miles,
Aye.
Councilman Brown. I'm sorry, I said Councilman Brown. Councilman Fields, he did say yeah. Councilman Fields. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Councilwoman Neville,
Aye.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
That's a yes for me. That motion carries 7-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
may I have a point of privilege, please?
Yes, you may.
Two things. And I neglected to say it during my comments earlier. I don't know if that was the appropriate place for it, but to the chief, I'd like to bring to your attention that on more than one occasion, I've seen vehicles come from the Triangle Shopping Plaza and turn northbound on southbound Route 1 to get into the apartment complex. I don't know if that's something that you all have noticed. I don't travel that road very often, but in the amount of times that I have traveled, I've seen it happen at least twice. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you. The other thing that I wanted to do is go back to your letter, Mayor Wood. So to Councilwoman Neville's point, I do think that the letter requires a couple of edits, nothing major, just a few maybe grammatical changes. But I do think that if this letter is going to move forward, signed on behalf of the town council, I do think that we should discuss it and vote on whether or not we are in agreement by major consensus to move forward with this letter on behalf of the town council. So I do support the ask in this letter, which is that we are asking for the Board of County Supervisors to consider the, what I call this here? To consider our proffers almost for moving forward with the stadium. I do know that it is very early in the conversation at this point, but what I do agree with is what you've laid out here as far as our three considerations with regard to infrastructure for the stadium. I would also like to say that I am not completely 100% sold on support, but I would like for these items to be considered for support. If that makes it, if that makes sense. Is everybody clear on what I'm saying? Okay. Oh, okay.
So you want the council to vote on it today and weigh in on it?
I think if this is going to move forward as on behalf of the town council, I do believe we need to.
Well, I welcome that motion and
So I motion that we move forward with allowing the mayor to clean up this letter and send it on behalf of the town council to the Board of County Supervisors, outlining our considerations for support of the stadium.
All right, it's been motioned and second by Councilman Fields. All right, we'll go back to the discussion. Councilwoman Miles.
So just for clarification, the motion is for the mayor to clean this up and then bring it back for us to vote on it, or we just, when I have them clean it up and then it's
I say clean it up and send it out. The gist of the letter is here. The cleanups that I'm looking for are simply, formatting, grammatical errors, those types of things. Though few, they're still there, and I just would like to see that cleaned up a little bit. But I do agree with the substance of the letter.
Councilman Fields.
I agree with the substance of the letter too. I think, since it's been widely in the media and talked about, amongst residents and, social media and stuff like that, I don't think we should wait. I think we should just go and get it out there so they know we're behind. If there's anyone hesitant on doing so, I think the hesitancy will cause more problems than just go ahead and put it out there now. What we'd like to see.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councilman Pete, I see you.
Yes, if it's Mayor, if you don't mind me asking, is there a deadline on this letter?
It's dated March the 1st, 2022.
No,
There's no deadline, but I believe that the consideration and it's out there. So it's just setting our position.
Understood. So what I would like to see is that, it go back to you for a cleanup and it be ran past us so we see what recommendations that we're sending forward and what you have cleaned up. If it's going on part of the council as a whole, I don't think that or see any problem with us being able to see what you're sending out on behalf of the council as a whole prior to it going out. This doesn't take a whole week. This is like a day's worth of work. It's my recommendation.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor. I agree with the Vice Mayor and Councilman Pete. I'd like to state, we just voted on the rules and procedure, and I think at some point we do need to go back and review other elements of that document, because we went through a process for the previous two meetings to put something to a vote tonight. And here we are, we kind of violate the rules and procedure that we adopted. But at the same time, I think we all understand sometimes things are time sensitive and they occur, they pop up, and we want to address them. So I do think we should take some time in future meetings to review rules and procedure and make changes that actually work for the town, you know? So I agree with Councilman Pete said, and I'd also like to ask, is this something we need a motion on, or is this something we can just work through an email? If you can send us an updated draft, maybe have our clerk or town manager review the letter and provide those edits and make things clear. Also, again, I haven't had time to really read it. I heard it read to us by you during this meeting, but I'd also like to make it clear, because we have a lot of people in town who are confused about, do they live in town or not? And people up the street being confused. So, you know, we need to be clear. I think this proposed space is in the Potomac Shores area, not necessarily in town limits. But to your point in what you read to us, there are some things, some asks we can have that will greatly benefit the town of Dumfries. So yeah, I definitely like some time to review the revised draft, if that's possible. So I guess I'm not sure, and I'm sure Ms. Kandak, you can give us some advice on, do we need to make a motion for this, or is this something we can agree on via email?
Ms. Panda?
Yes, Mayor Wood, I think it's appropriate for there to be a motion from council, but the council motion can certainly allow for some editorial cleanup. The important thing is the substance of it, which I think the Vice Mayor pointed to.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? The motion, okay.
So the motion on the floor, just want to make sure I'm clear. So the motion on the floor is to make the editorial cleanup and then move forward with it.
All right. So is there any further question on that motion? It's been motioned by the Vice Mayor, second by Councilwoman Miles. Seeing no further question, I will call for the question. Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miles.
Aye.
Councilman Fields.
Aye.
Councilman Pete.
Aye.
Councilwoman Neville.
Aye.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. All right, next on the agenda is our closed session.
Man, we have one intro item.
Oh, sorry, I skipped over. I forgot you hit me with that point of privilege. You threw me off. All right, intro item. Thank you, Town Manager. A resolution authorizing the Town Manager to advertise a public hearing on the conditional use application 2022-001, the Pooch Perfect Pet Spa. Public hearing to be dated March 15, 2022. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. We're looking for a motion from the council to authorize us to advertise a public hearing with the date set for March the 15th.
So moved.
It's been moved by the Vice Mayor,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Neville. My comments, I hope this doesn't bring any additional pooches to my house. No, I'm just teasing. All right, any discussion from the council? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Pete?
Aye.
Councilwoman Neville?
Aye.
Councilman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilwoman Miles?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
So yes, for me, that motion carries 7-0. All All right, next on our agenda is our closed session. All right. Whereas the Town Council of Dumfries desires to discuss in closed meeting the following matters relating to the performance evaluation of our town manager. It's allowed according to Virginia Code 2.2-3711 Alpha 1. Whereas pursuant of such discussion may occur in closed session. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council does authorize by motion.
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor to go in closed session. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Councilman Fields, Councilwoman Neville,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Miles,
Aye.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
It's a yes for me. We'll convene, give you guys a 5-minute stretch break. We can